Welcome to the Vendio Webinar. My name is Nathan, and I will be showing you some tips and tricks to save time while managing multiple selling channels. There will be time for questions at the end. Please go ahead and type any questions that you have into that questions box in the little webinar widget. You can type those in during the webinar, basically at any time, and then at the end of the webinar, I will take a look and answer your questions for you as best as I can. Today we will be covering topics such as how to import your active listings from eBay and then send those items on over in bulk to Amazon and also to OpenSky. We'll also be taking a look at editing items in bulk using CSV files, as well as how to edit items in bulk from within your Vendio account online. And then we'll also be taking a look at other tips and tricks that we come across along the way. Let's get started though by seeing how an eBay seller can expand to selling to additional marketplaces. The first thing that you will need to do is make sure that your eBay listings are in your Vendio account. If they are not already in your Vendio account, then you'll want to start by importing those listings into Vendio. And to do this, you will go to Items in the menu at the top of the page, and then Import Items. And then on the Import Items page, you'll click the eBay icon. And then on the next page, you just have a few options that you'll need to choose from. The first is which eBay account you want to import from. You can have multiple eBay accounts associated with your Vendio account, so you'll want to pick the one that you're importing from. Next, you'll pick the item allocation strategy. And so this is how Vendio handles items when you're selling on multiple marketplaces. And I do usually recommend the shared strategy when you are selling on multiple marketplaces. The shared strategy allows you to send your entire quantities of your items, whether that's one of each item or whether it's 1,000 of each item. It allows you to send that entire quantity to each marketplace that you're selling on. And then when the item sells on one marketplace, we will adjust the quantities for you on the others automatically, taking down listings for you when there is no longer a quantity available. And that is definitely recommended, the recommended strategy of shared if you are selling on multiple marketplaces. Then you can choose whether to import all of your active and recently closed eBay listings, or if you only want to bring in your active listings, then you can choose that instead. And then you can choose to import all of your items, or you can import from only specific eBay store categories. And then these final three options help you get your items up on the Vendio store and OpenSky quicker, and I do recommend checking these before doing the import. Once you have those settings ready, just go ahead and click the blue Import My eBay Items button. And now that you've started the import, you'll be taken back to the main import page, and you can see at the bottom left there is this View Import Status button, and you can click on that button and that'll let you know the current status of your import. This one is currently to be processed. Once it has completed, then you should see the number of imported listings under the Items Imported Successfully column. And while we're waiting for the import to complete, let's take a look at how to add your Amazon account to your Vendio account. And so the first thing you'll want to do is you'll want to go to Preferences, which is in the top right of most pages in your Vendio account. And then once you're on the Preferences page, you can go ahead and select Channels from the drop-down box at the top. And then the Amazon options are near the bottom of the page. So you will scroll on down near the bottom to the Amazon Market ID section. The account that I'm in right now has already attached the Amazon account, but let's take a look at what it looks like before you've added your Amazon account to Vendio. Looks a little bit similar here, but you'll see that in this case, there's this use this link to log into your Amazon Seller Central account. And you want to do exactly what it says. You want to click on that link, which will direct you to log into your Amazon account. And then Amazon will present you with a few different pages of legalese that's basically just letting you know what you are agreeing to, and it's basically you agreeing to allow Vendio to access your Amazon account for the purpose of posting your listings. So go ahead and read the information that Amazon presents you, and then just click to agree and continue in order to complete the process. There's I believe it's 3 pages of that you'll just click to agree to. And once you're done, you will be directed right back to your Vendio account. It's a very simple process. It's as long as you agree to what's being presented, it's just a matter of clicking a couple buttons. And then once you're back in your Vendio account, it should now look very similar to this, which shows that you are now connected to Amazon through Vendio. And now let's take a look at how to connect to your OpenSky account. Somewhat similar process. Again, this account here is already connected, so we'll take a look at what it looks like before you have connected to OpenSky. Before it's happened, you'll have this continue to OpenSky button. And so what you do is you just click continue to OpenSky, and then you'll have one page where you can fill out your OpenSky account information and create your OpenSky account. You basically just need to put in information such as your OpenSky username, what you want your OpenSky store name to be, create your password, some pretty basic information there. Most of it should already be information that you have ready to enter. And then once you've filled out that short form, just click to continue, and you will again be directed back to your Vendio account. And it should now look very similar to this at the bottom of the page, letting you know that those accounts are now linked. And that's pretty much it to link those accounts. So it's a very simple process, and we can go ahead and click Save and Close. And next we're going to go to the My Items page, which is under Items at the menu at the top, and then My Items. And we're going to take a look at how to send these imported eBay listings on over to Amazon. And to do that, you can either select one or more items manually by just checking the boxes to the left, or you can just check this box at the very top left of all the items and it will select all the items on the page. You can do this up to 100 items at a time. You can have up to 100 items showing on the page, and you can then send one page of items at a time on over to Amazon. And to do that, once we've selected the items, we are going to click the Actions button and then Match Amazon Catalog. And so what our system does is it takes those imported eBay listings and all the data that is in those listings that have been imported, and it does its best to find the correct Amazon catalog item. If there's only one match, then it will just present that one match that's been found. If our system does find more than one match, then it will show you the choices that you have to choose from, and you can look and make sure that the default is the proper catalog item. When you're on this page, I would recommend that you at least take a quick look to make sure that the matches are correct and as you would expect them to be. And also take a look at the price fields. It's importing the price that you're using for eBay. It's possible that you may want a different price for Amazon, and if that's the case, you can change those prices right here within the price grid. Also make sure the condition is correct. Likely will be, since it is importing the condition from eBay. You can add any condition notes if you need to. And then once you've verified that the data is correct, you can either click Save and Publish for each item individually if you want to do it one at a time, or if you know that all the data on the page is correct for all the items, then you can just scroll to the very bottom of the page and click Save and Publish Amazon Ready items from this list. And that will send all of your items on over to Amazon and get them published on Amazon for you. Next, we're going to go back to the main My Items page by going to Items and then My Items. And we're going to take a look at how to send these items over to OpenSky. It's a similar process to Amazon. You can either check the box individually for specific items, or if you want to send the entire page of items, just check the box at the top left, go to Actions. This time we're going to go to Send To, and then we're going to go to OpenSky. OpenSky does have a few different things to keep in mind. They do only accept fixed shipping costs or flat rate shipping costs. They do not accept calculated shipping at this time. So you want to make sure that all of your items are using a shipping profile that is using fixed shipping or flat rate shipping for the purpose of OpenSky. And if they're not, then you can change that in one of two ways. You can either double click in the box. Actually, that's for a different bit. For the profile, you would select the correct profile that you want from this drop-down box at the top, which will show you all of the profiles that you have stored in your Vendio account. So for example, you would select the fixed price shipping, and then that will apply the profile to all of the items that you have here. The category, on the other hand, you can change per individual item. So for example, here we have both iPhones, and we also have a couple books. So the OpenSky category would be a different category for the books than it would be for the iPhones. And you can do that individually per item by double-clicking in the box, and then locate the correct category from the drop-down box for each individual item. If you are selling all within the same category, then it's a much quicker and easier step. You can just use this drop-down box at the top and select one category to apply to all of your items. You'll also want to make sure that the price is correct here, and you can do that by double-clicking in the box and then enter in the price that you want to chart, or the price that you want to be on the item. Also, the item weights are required for listing to OpenSky, so you do want to take a look at what's in the item weight field. This is in ounces, and make sure that it is correct. If you need to add an item weight for an item that doesn't have it yet, or if you need to change an item weight, you can just double click in the box and then make whatever change you need to make. And then once you've done all that, just go ahead and click send, and your items will be sent on over to OpenSky to get published. And that is how you can send your items to Amazon and OpenSky in bulk. Next, I wanted to show you how you can edit your items in bulk using the CSV import option. Some people, if you've never used CSV files before, it can sound scary. It sounds like a very different thing. It's really just an Excel spreadsheet. It's basically an Excel spreadsheet where you can enter data, and then you can change it when you need to, and then you can just upload that file and send it over to Vendio. And to do that, you will go to Items in the menu at the top of the page, and then you will go to Import Items. And then once you're on the Import Items page, you will go to the CSV File button. And here on the import page, you will see at the top that there is this how to prepare your import file link, and you'll definitely want to take a look at that file. It has quite a bit of information in there depending on what you need. And then there's also a link to download the spreadsheet template, which you will also want to go ahead and open. You can use the CSV import to either create completely new items, in which case the only field that is required that you fill in is the title. And then you can fill in fields for whatever other data you want to enter. We will be taking a look at that spreadsheet in a minute. And then your other option is update mode, which you can use in order to update items that are already in your Vendio account. And then the required field there is the SKU, and that's because that's how our system knows which item you are trying to update is based on the SKU. With import mode, you don't have to enter the SKU, because if you don't enter one, our system will automatically create a unique SKU for you. And so those are the two different ways to use the CSV import option. And next, let us take a look at let's take a look actually at the import manual. The import manual takes all of the fields that are in that spreadsheet. It'll let you know which page the data's on, so you can just look up the fields that you actually need. Most people will not be using every field that's available, but most people will need a good number of them. But for each field, this document will let you know information such as what it is. So like for the SKU here, it lets you know it's a unique identifying inventory number. It lets you know whether or not it's required. It is required for update mode in this case. It lets you know which marketplaces it's used for. Some of the fields are only used for eBay, for example, some only for OpenSky. In this case, the SKU is used for eBay, Amazon, OpenSky, and also the Vendio store. And then it lets you know any requirements for that field. For the SKU example, there is a 40-character limit. And so this is a good reference when you're filling in the spreadsheet, especially for the first time, to make sure that you are filling it in with whatever requirements there are. And then there are also good examples in many of the fields to let you know what you can enter in. So for example, the product identifier type right here. It lets you know some of the options are like ISBN if you're selling books, or ASIN, which is the Amazon number. Now let's take a look at the actual import spreadsheet, and we'll fill in some of the information here just so that you can kind of get an idea of how it will work. Let's say we're going to send one of those iPhones. We're going to import one of those iPhones in using this document. We would start by giving it a SKU if we wanted to, or you could let Vendio assign a random SKU for you. But I'm going to go ahead and put in a SKU. And then the title is required since it is a new item that is being imported. And I'm going to be pretty basic here, but of course I would hope that your title would be a little more complete than mine, but we're just giving some examples here. And then the product identifier type, so we'll put in the UPC, and then the product identifier would be the actual UPC code itself. Subtitle, I'm not going to enter a subtitle in at this point, so we'll skip the subtitle. Total inventory quantity, let's say we have 10 of those for sale. The cost to seller, so this would be how much you paid for the item. I do recommend using the cost to seller field, especially if you have that information handy when you are creating the item. And the reason for that is that the cost to seller amount is used in much of the reporting that you have access to in Vendio, especially the profit and loss reporting. It's not really possible to get you an accurate number without knowing how much you paid for the item to begin with. The price, so this is the basic price that you're charging. So let's say 600. The item description, so you would go ahead and put in the full item description here. You can use HTML code if you've got that already written up. However you want to enter it, you can type it into the field here. The condition, so we're going to put in that it's new. Condition notes, if there are any. The item weight, let's say this would be in ounces. Let's say it's 15 ounces. That's probably a little low, but for the purpose of this, we'll just put that in there. The shipping weight, which of course is likely to be higher. The item dimensions, so this would be in inches. So let's say 7 by 2 by 4. I'm sure, again, that's probably not the actual dimensions of an iPhone, but just to give you an idea of how that would work. You can enter in an item package size if you need to. Again, this document here will let you know all of the what can be entered into those fields, the acceptable values for those fields. The inventory folder, if you are organizing your items by folder within the My Items page, you could enter the folder name here. I do recommend using folders, and we'll touch on that a little bit later. The item allocation strategy, so this is where you would put in shared to make sure that you're sharing your quantity across the marketplaces. Any inventory notes or labels, which is a way to store data within the item. And then there are a few other fields here with various information that you can enter in. Your warehouse location, if you have one and you want to put that there. And then you can upload up to 50 images per item. And to do that, you would just put in the URL for where that image is stored. And then after the images, we start to get into any custom fields that you've created. Some of the eBay information, eBay site. So this would be in case you had eBay Motors, you could put in eBay Motors. the eBay user ID. If you have more than one eBay ID connected with your Vendio account, you would specify which one this is for. The eBay category and the second category, if you have one. The same thing with the eBay store categories. The title on eBay, only if it's different from your main item title, otherwise that's not necessary. The eBay listing format, such as auction or fixed price. The duration, so maybe it's a 30-day. The listing quantity, and that again would be if you're not using the shared strategy. Otherwise, your entire quantity would be sent. A buy it now fixed price, if you're using fixed price listings. Starting bid and reserve price if it's an auction. And then we get into some Vendio store specific information, such as the categories. If you're putting the item on sale in the store, you can do your sale price, and then when that sale happens, and then whether or not the item is homepage featured. You can also add variations, and this is where that would be done. I'm not going to really get into that in detail in this webinar, but the full instructions are available in the import guide. And the basic way that works is that you do one row for each variation, and then you specify the SKU for the main item that variation goes with. But again, there's much more detailed instructions on how to do that in the import guide. And if you do need variations and you're having any trouble with it, or for that matter, if you're having trouble with anything, just reach out to our support team, and we're happy to help you there. The eBay gallery image, if you're specifying that. The OpenSky category, if you're selling on OpenSky. Whether or not there is a customization prompt for OpenSky, and then what that prompt is, if there is. And then also the estimated number of days to ship for OpenSky. Now, I know that the next field is blank, but we have recently added a new option, and you can use these blank fields for that option, and that is for your custom item specifics. And so you can now use the import template to import your eBay custom item specifics. And to do that, you would just create a column for each type of custom item specific. So for example, if we had to enter in the brand, you would just create a column named brand, and then right underneath it, for whichever item you are entering, you would type in that brand. So in this case, it would be Apple. And then if you had multiple items that needed the brand, you would just put in whatever the brand was for each specific item on whatever row it goes with. And then you can enter in pretty much as many of those custom item specifics as you would like in each column here. The import guide has some good examples for that as well. So if you find yourself stuck there, that's a good resource. And again, you can always contact us in support if you're having trouble. But it does make it a lot easier to import new eBay items and have them ready to be sent over to eBay right upon import. So I do recommend that you take advantage of that if you are creating new items for eBay through the CSV file option. And so let me tell you what to do after you filled out the file. You just want to save the file and make sure you save it in CSV, also known as comma delimited format, in the save as type field when you're saving that file. And that's just what it does. Is it basically, what CSV means is it just basically means that data is separated out by commas for the purpose of the Vendio system looking at the file. It's going to look just like this when you view it. It's going to look just like a regular Excel file, but when it's saved in that CSV format and it's imported into Vendio, our system is able to tell what data you've entered where based on the format type of CSV that the file has been saved in. So you'll just go ahead and save it in CSV format, and then you'll go back to the import page. Click this Choose File button in order to select that file, and then select it, and then you'll see the name right there. I do recommend that you just keep this box checked here to make newly imported items immediately visible in your Vendio store and OpenSky, unless you're not using the store or OpenSky. And then last, you will select which profiles you want associated with those imported items, and this will let you choose from all of the profiles that you currently have stored within your Vendio account. Once you selected all those options, you'll just click the Import My Items from File button, and you will be brought right back to the import page, and you can view the status of that import through the same blue View Import Status button at the bottom left of the page. And if there are any errors, it'll show you the number of errors, and you can click on the number, and it will usually give you a pretty good idea with the error message as to what went wrong and what the problem was and why those specific rows may not have imported. And a good tip here is to keep a copy of your inventory file, especially if you create your completely new items using the CSV import file. What you can do is just keep a copy of that file, and then when you need to make changes, you can just open up that original file and just make the changes right in line within the original file. With Excel's find and replace, it can be very quick to make a bulk change that way. And then you can just upload that file in update mode once you once you've made the changes in the document and are ready to upload it. If you do use that option, I would recommend creating your own SKUs. They do have to be unique, but that way the SKUs will already be on the file when you make changes to it and are ready to upload it with those changes. If, on the other hand, your items are not already in Excel, but they are in your Vendio account, you can go to Items in the menu in the top, and then Inventory Export. And then you can choose the fields that you want to export, and then click this Export Inventory button, which will then, after a bit of time, hopefully not too long, it depends on how many you have, but it might be a little bit of time if you have a whole bunch of items. It will create a link that you can then click on. It's just a zip file that has the CSV file within it, and then you can use that document in order to upload your changes that you need to make to the items that are already in your account. Next, I wanted to move on to editing items in bulk from within your Vendio account. And to do this, you will go to Items and then My Items. And there are a couple ways to do this. First, though, you'll want to make sure that the box for Quick Edit Mode up here at the top is checked. You'll need this box checked for both of the methods that I'm about to show you. And the first thing that you can do is you can just double click in most fields that are here in Vendio in order to make a change in line. So say perhaps my UPC code is wrong for this item. I can just double click on it and then make whatever correction I need to make. Click out, and then click Save at the bottom right of the page here. When you just have one item selected, and you can do that by just adding a check mark there, the bulk edit panel to the right will show you all the data that is entered for that item so that you can make any changes that you need right from here without clicking in to edit it. For example, maybe you need to change the shipping profile. You could do that right here. Select a new shipping profile and then save changes. You do need the package size for calculated, so it will let you know if there are any reasons why that change cannot be saved. In this case, we would need to enter in the package size and dimensions before we could change it to calculated shipping. Or you can select more than one item at a time, or again, the entire page of items, so that's up to 100. And you see multiple values in most of the fields to the right. That is because they have different values depending on the item that we're editing. The ones that do have something in common, such as it being on eBay US, and in this case, store conditions not specified, that will show up. But then you can make a change to any field in bulk. So maybe your shipping has changed. Maybe it's January, and whichever shipping service you're using has increased their prices, and so you've had to make some changes to your shipping, and you've created a new shipping profile. Then you could just select that profile from this box right here, and then click Save to apply it to all of your items in bulk. And so that's really handy way to edit your items in bulk. Again, you could either use this bulk edit panel to the right by selecting the items, or you can double click into most fields in order to change them right there in line. One tip that I did want to give, though, that many people forget about is that you can organize your items into folders. So I do recommend taking different types of items and putting them into their own folder. For example, with these 5 items we're looking at here, it would be helpful to create a folder just for iPhones and to create a folder just for books in order to separate them out. That way, when you have to make a change, say just your phone items or just your book items, depending on how your business has changed, then you can just pull up the folder that just has those items in it, select all of them in bulk here at the top left, and then use the bulk edit panel at the right to make that change very quickly to all of that one type of item. To create a new folder, you'll just click the folders link at the top left and then click add and then give it a name. In this case, we'll say iPhone, and then click OK. And then you can see it's created that new folder right there at the bottom. And then you can take the items that you want to move over, make sure they're selected, go to Actions, Move, and then select the new folder and click OK. And now, when you want to only view your iPhones, you can go to Folders at the top left, and then click iPhone, and then we got our folder of only our iPhone items. So again, I do recommend using folders. A lot of people skip that step, but it can save you a lot of time in the long run. It's the sort of thing that you might think of when you need it, but not when creating items. And usually it's easier to put it in folders when you're first creating items. Or if you happen to have a few minutes free time, that's a good thing to get done. That'll save you a lot of time in the future when you need to quickly make changes in bulk to specific types of items. One other tip that I wanted to show you is the Options button at the top right of the My Items page. It's also on the Orders page, so keep that in mind as well. But when you click on the Options button, it shows you all of the available fields for this page. The ones that have a check mark in them are the fields that are currently turned on to show on the My Items page, and the ones without a check mark are the ones that are not yet turned on. I do recommend going through the options list and turning on the fields that you want to see on the My Items page and turning off the fields that you don't need. For example, if you're not selling on Amazon, then you probably want to turn off the Amazon specific fields. There would be no reason for you to see those. On the other hand, maybe it's important to you to see which items have which shipping profiles regularly. Then you would want to turn on the shipping profile field so that you could see that information right here on the main My Items page. All right, and so that is what I wanted to show you today. Thank you for joining the webinar. I do want to see if anyone has any questions. So let me take a look and see if there are any questions here. Here we have one. What fields are linked to live listings is the question from Mary. So it kind of depends. For eBay, the changes that you make to most of the eBay related fields when you use the update mode from the CSV import, those fields would not really be changed. However, the Amazon, the OpenSky, and the Vendio store fields would for the most part be changed on the active listings right after the upload happened. We did recently add a new option for eBay listings to make revising eBay listings easier. That still is in the beta phase. I could show you that to you very briefly though. What you can do is you can go into any inventory item that has an active eBay listing and then go on over to the eBay info tab in the top left. And you'll see here we have a save and revise at eBay button. Again, this is in beta, so at this point you would need to be making changes from within the online account, from within this eBay info tab in order for this to work. Once we go farther though, we'll probably start looking at the ability to do that through the CSV import option as well. So kind of stay tuned on that. That's something that we will hopefully add in the future, depending on how the beta trial for this goes. Keep in mind as well that while this is in beta, not all of the fields will be revised at eBay when you click the Save and Revise button. The fields that will not be revised are the, let me see here, the description cannot be revised at this point. The SKU cannot be revised. I am drawing a little bit of a blank on the other two fields. There are another two fields, but the main one that most people are, I'm sure, are going to want that cannot be revised at this point is the description. But again, it is currently in beta, so we're planning on adding a bit more fields there. But to go back to your main question for the CSV import, the eBay fields for the most part will only be changed within your online Vendio account with a CSV update until you launch a new listing from that Vendio inventory item. The Amazon, Vendio Store, and OpenSky fields will for the most part be applied automatically upon the CSV import. I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, please type back into that question box and I'll try to clarify. Also, I'm not seeing any other questions. Oh, here we go. I think this interface is a little difficult to read, so my apologies, Mary. I think I see another question here from you. There we go. What about the quick edit mode option? So that's the same as the CSV import as to which fields would apply to active listings at this point. Again, depending on how the beta trial for this new Save and Revise at eBay button goes, we will probably be expanding that to the CSV and also the bulk edit panels would be my guess, and what I'll push for if this works as we think it will. Oh, great. Thank you very much, Mary. I appreciate it. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions? I'll give it just a minute, just in case someone's typing. But while I'm waiting, thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. We are planning on doing more webinars in the future. And we also are happy to take any suggestions for future webinars. So if anyone has a suggestion for a future webinar, feel free to type it into the question box to let me know, or you can always send that over to our support staff. And for that matter, if you need help with anything, remember that we have available at the top right of most pages in your Vendio account is the help link right here. And if you need help with anything, please reach out and let us know. We are more than happy to help. You can also use that help option to let us know about any suggestions you have for future webinars that we do. All right, well, I am not seeing any other questions, but thank you all again for joining. I hope you found it useful. Please do reach out to us if you need anything, and have a great rest of your day.